So I was on stage and the room was kind of like a cafeteria and it was pretty full. The stage felt very high, higher than normal. And I had monitors and I was doing a slideshow and I was teaching a class, and this is stuff that I have been saying in classroom settings for like 14 years. All of a sudden it was like the room was caving in. Like it felt like the roof was going to fall down on me. And I felt like there were sirens going off, but they were going off inside my head. Hello friends, welcome to Chickenlandia. My name is Dahlia. I'm a backyard chicken educator, also known as the president of Chickenlandia. Raising chickens has been the best way for me to find peace and joy in my life, and I want to help you find that too. Okay, I'm gonna put you down, okay, honey? Yeah, I'm gonna put you down. I like your hair today. I like your hair. It looks like a little wig. So today's gonna be a little bit different. It's gonna be a little bit personal, but this stuff has been on my mind for a long time and I've really wanted to share it. So that's what I'm gonna do. People ask me a lot, how did you get into being a backyard chicken educator? And it's funny because I didn't decide on this career path. It was like it chose me. I didn't choose the chicken life. The chicken life chose me. I think I had chickens for maybe, I don't know, it was like 4 months. And I was very, very enthusiastic about my chickens just from the get-go. And I didn't realize that would happen. I became super duper passionate about chickens and people noticed that. At some point, I got a message from my local community college and they were like, hey, we heard you're a chicken expert. And remember, I'd had chickens for like 4 months at this point. And they were like, we would like for you to come to the community college and teach a class on chickens. And when I read that, I had this thought of just like, I probably shouldn't do this because I am not actually an expert. I haven't had chickens for very long. I'm just super passionate about them. Maybe this isn't the right thing for me to do, but I said yes. So I had a couple months to do a lot of research. I had already done so much research before that because, like I said, I was just so passionate about chickens. So by the time I was supposed to teach this class, I really did have a lot of knowledge in my head about chicken keeping. And I think that comes from just being super passionate about something. Like I'm able to just hold any information about chickens in my head, whereas lots of other information, especially if it has to do with math, it just goes in and comes right back out, but not chicken math. After that first class that I taught, it was about 3 hours long, a woman came up to me, she was an older woman, and she said, you know, I've had chickens for 30 years, and I learned more today about them than I ever knew. And at that moment, I was hooked. I was like, okay, this is it. This is my future. After I taught that class, it was kind of like this boulder rolling down a hill. I started getting other offers. I started doing seminars, teaching other classes, traveling a little bit. And then at one point, I auditioned to do a TEDx talk at Western Washington University, which is here in Bellingham, and I got in. And so I did this TEDx talk all about chickens in front of many hundreds of people. On a stage. I was really in my element. I was very nervous, of course, but I absolutely just, oh gosh, it's like I was thrilled by that. Even though it was certainly a surprise that I became a backyard chicken educator. You know, when I was a kid, I didn't lie in bed thinking, oh, I'm gonna be a backyard chicken educator when I grow up. That was just not anything that I thought about. But what I did know when I was a kid is that I loved to perform. I love to be on stage. I love to be in front of a camera rather than behind it. I, in my early 20s, was a singer and I performed in different places around the country. I had a band called Infinite Goulash. And I was a singer in that band. I played a little bit of guitar, but we only actually played once. But it was a great gig. It really was. Other than that, I just performed solo. I sang and I played guitar, and I really loved that. And that's a whole nother story for another time. But yeah, I like entertaining people. I like being in front of a camera. And up until this day, it's something that I really love. It's just part of who I am. One of the really cool things that happened after I started my YouTube channel and I started to gain a little bit of popularity is I started to get invited to homesteading conferences. So I went to several of those for a few years. The last one I went to was the McMurray Homesteading Conference, and I was so excited about that one because there were a lot of people that I wanted to meet for a really long time. Like, I knew them from YouTube. To me, they were like celebrities. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm in a lineup with all of these people that I really have a lot of admiration for, and I can't believe I'm included in this. So that was super exciting to me. And, I just remember traveling there and being so excited about participating in this conference. And then I got there, and something really scary and disappointing happened. I don't know if anyone from McMurray is watching this. I hope that someday I can do one of their conferences again, but I'm just going to be really honest and let you guys know what happened to me, because I know that there are those of you out there that have had similar experiences. So not only do I welcome your input on how I can get through this and get past all this, but I also just want to have some solidarity with you, because I think a lot of people that have this experience really suffer in silence, and it's a real isolating feeling. So anyway, let me tell you what happened. The first day of the conference, I was on stage. I had done this presentation many, many times. I spoke to some of the audience members before we started. This was stuff that previous to this moment, I could do in my sleep. I had taught so many classes before this. So I was really prepared. It wasn't about not being prepared or not knowing what I was talking about, nothing like that. I just remember being on the stage and starting to have just this unbelievable feeling of panic. Now, before this time, I had panic attacks. I knew that I was having them, that it was a possibility, but I had never had one on stage. And here I am, talking to all these people, and I just, like I said at the beginning of the video, I really felt like everything was just caving in on me. And it's like there's these internal sirens, and they're warning you, they're telling you, you're gonna pass out, you're gonna have a heart attack, you're gonna fall off the stage, you're gonna barf, you're gonna, just something is gonna happen that you are so out of control of, and it's gonna ruin your life. And here you are, you're on stage, this is gonna happen while everybody is watching. And it was so surreal because I just kept talking and I was going through this script that I had gone through many times. But in my mind, it was like I was also talking to myself, and I was saying all this stuff to myself, like, you're about to completely freak out and you're going to faint or whatever. So at one point, I just completely ran out of breath and I had to stop. And I took this really deep breath, and the audience could tell something was wrong. The audience was so sweet. I stopped, and I was like, I touched my hand to my chest, and I was like, and I just didn't start talking again. And so they started clapping, and someone said, "You can do it." So they could tell, I was really nervous. They probably just thought I was really nervous, and I had to take a breath. But what was really happening is I was really, really panicking. And I've been nervous before. Like I said, I've been performing my whole life. But there is such a difference between just getting jitters when you're on a stage or when you're performing and really having a panic attack in front of many people. It really is one of the worst feelings I've ever had in my life. I was able to get through that presentation, but it shook me up really bad. And I had another presentation the next day on the schedule, and I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. The next morning, I woke up and I immediately just had this awful feeling of dread. And I was crying a lot, and I couldn't really get out of bed. And I just thought, I can't do this. I can't face today. And I've never had, up until that point, I had panic attacks. I had one that was so bad I went to the hospital years ago, but they didn't last this long. And so I was shocked. I was like, why do I still feel like this today? And then I had this presentation looming in my future, and I was like, I don't think I can do it. I really don't think I can do it. But I'll tell you, the one thing I hate worse than having a panic attack is letting people down. And I just couldn't imagine going to the people that put the conference together and saying, hey, I can't do this. That just was not anything that was a possibility for me. So I dragged myself out of bed. I went downstairs. I was in a hotel, and there were a lot of other people that were participating in the conference that were also at this hotel. And I had made some friends the day before. Like I said, it was really exciting. Like, just so many people that I was like, oh my gosh, I had wanted to meet these people for years, and I was meeting them and hanging out with them. But I went downstairs and I was getting breakfast. And even though there were a lot of people in the room where people were eating breakfast, I just had this feeling of such isolation. I was like, there's no one in this room that can understand what I'm going through right now. And I felt really, really alone and really isolated. And I sat down at a table by myself, and at that moment, a woman named Janelle walked in, and she's this beautiful, tall goddess. And her name is, she has an Instagram. It's Janelle Lynn Anderson, and she's a beautiful person, so you should definitely go and follow her. But she came in, and she had been really helpful to me up until that point, because she was kind of helping with the conference. And then also this lovely, lovely woman, her name is Janet, and her Instagram is Timber Creek Farms, I think. Oh, Janet, if that's wrong, I'm going to put the right one in the description. She is just a wonderful, sweet, warm person. They both walked in at that point, and I know that they must have looked at me and just seen the look on my face, because they both came and sat down, and Janelle was like, what's wrong? And I explained to them, I'm really, really freaking out right now. I'm really struggling. I have so much anxiety. I can't calm down. I don't know what to do. And there was a thing where I needed some props for my presentation that day, and I didn't have them yet, so I was panicking about that. And they were both, they sat down. I can just, see them in my mind's eye right now. They just sat down and kind of, even though they were sitting across from me, it was like this hug, and this total, feeling like they understood me and that they were going to take care of me. These are people that I had met the day before, and they don't have any idea that I'm going to be talking about them today. But I've been meaning to make this video for a long time, because what they will never know what they did for me that day. At one point, Janet was like, everything's gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be okay. We're gonna take care of you. We're gonna figure everything out. And I understand. She was like, I don't have this experience. I don't have panic attacks, but I understand, that you're having a hard time, and don't worry. And Janelle was like, okay, I'm going to figure out what's going on with your props. I'm going to make sure that everything's set up in your room. I'm gonna, go upstairs and take a few minutes, and then come down when you're ready, and don't worry about a thing. Everything's gonna be set up for you. And I just even though I still was feeling really anxious, just having that support system made such a huge difference. So I was able to get myself to the location, to the place where the conference was. I was walking to go do the presentation, and when I was walking there, this is another example of like kind of angels in my life. This woman came up to me, and she was just a fan, and she was like, you know what, I just want to tell you how much your channel means to me, and how it's really changed my life, and you inspire me every day. And when I get scared to do something, I think about how courageous you are and all this stuff. And I was like, I mean, it was like the perfect thing for me to hear in that moment. So with all of that strength from these people that just showed up in my life at this right time, I was able to go on stage, and I was able to do my presentation. And actually, that presentation went way better than the one I did the day before, which wasn't horrible, but it felt horrible to me. I had a great time for the rest of the conference. I went home and I was like kind of sad because the conference was over and I had met all these amazing people, and I was like, oh, I really want to do that again. But when I got home, I got really, really sick. And it was just like a really bad flu or COVID or something. And I think it was because it was just such my body was wrecked from having that experience. And by the time I got home, it was just like, ugh, and then my body's like, okay, you're gonna get sick now, so we're gonna get this energy out of you. And then after that, my flock got sick. And I've talked about this before on my channel, that like sometimes I feel like my state of mind and even my like illness can like affect my flock because we're so connected. I know that probably sounds crazy, but that is what I think. Like literally my health can affect the health of my flock if I'm really down, or if it's like a really emotional experience. And that's what happened. My flock got pretty sick, and I am just now getting away from dealing with that illness that really lasted a year in my flock. I think I lost 2 or 3 chickens. I can't think right off the top of my head now, but it was tough, and I'm happy to be on the other side of it. So all of this to say that I have this situation where I now have these panic attacks, and I'm fairly certain that this is just one of the many wonderful symptoms of perimenopause. I've talked about that on my channel before, that, since I started going through perimenopause, I've had a lot of anxiety. Knowing that and kind of managing it still doesn't make them go away. And over this past year, I've had a few requests to go to other conferences, and these are places where I would love to go. With people that I would love to be on stage with, and in the company of. And this is something that I have loved my whole life, that I've really waited my whole life to be performing at a certain level in front of audiences, like big audiences. That's always been my dream. I didn't know that those performances were going to be about chickens, but that's beside the point. I always thought that I would be helping people in some way through this communication. And now, I got to tell you, I've turned down every request to do other conferences. There was one that I really wanted to do, and so I kind of put it off. I was like, oh, I don't think I can go because my husband's going to Asia, which he was supposed to, and then he didn't. But, if I really wanted to, I could have figured it out, but I kept putting it off because I was like, I don't know if I can do this, and I don't know how to tell this person that, I have this problem. And then by the time I was like, okay, maybe I can do it, there was no room for me to be at that conference. So, yeah, it's been really hard, and I'm at this stage where I'm like, is that part of my life over? Do I have to give this up? And it's very difficult for me. I know that probably a lot of you are going to have some advice for me, and I welcome all of it. I really do. I am a very natural leaning person. So far, I haven't gone down the medication route. I do have a homeopath, and so that has helped a lot. And just nutritionally, things that I have done, and managing my perimenopausal symptoms, all of that has helped a lot. But I still just haven't gotten up the nerve to get on a stage in front of a live audience again. I am so grateful that I have this stage that I'm on right now and that I can do it. And if I'm freaking out, I can just turn the camera off. So I'm so grateful for this way of communicating to you. But in some ways, I do feel like I'm watching the world go by, and, I'm getting older and I'm missing out. And so that has been really hard. It's been really hard. But I am still hopeful because I still have this dream. I still want to perform live. At some point I'm going to have my new book out, and I'd like to travel and promote that book and be on TV and all the stuff that I did when I put out my first book. But I don't know. We'll have to see how that goes. In the meantime, I'm so grateful to you guys, and I hope that if nothing else, me putting this message out, I hope it's helpful to those of you who are having the same experiences, and maybe we can just kind of find some comfort in that we're not alone. Because I think one of the worst feelings of all of this is just that feeling of isolation. And again, I want to thank Janet and Janelle, two beautiful, beautiful people who helped me get through a really tough moment. And I know they really just don't know how important they were to me that day. So I hope they're watching this, and I hope they know how special they are to me forever. I will tell you one thing. Spending time with my chickens really, really helps. I don't really panic when I'm out here with my chickens. I can always, when I'm having a hard time, come out here and take a breather, and that's why this is so important to me. Chickenlandia is so important to me, and it's so important to me that other people have this experience because it's such a comfort in my life. So let me know what you think. Talk to me in the comments. I read all the comments. I really appreciate all of you. And that's about it. And I do want you to know, above everything else, no matter what, that you are always welcome in Chickenlandia.